All right, with me now from Washington is CBS News senior political editor Steve Chaggaris. Steve, good to see you.
Great to see you, Vlad.
All right, so recent polls show that neither candidate has a strong backing of trust among the electorate. So how do they go about changing that? And the question I think a lot of people have is it possible at this point?
I mean, I guess anything's possible at this point. I think one way you don't go about changing it is to pull what happened over the weekend. I think that, you don't go walking around with an illness and not tell anybody about it. And then basically when you're caught on video stumbling and then forced to explain to people that you have pneumonia, I think that raises a lot of questions in people's minds. And when you already have a trust deficit among voters, those kinds of episodes don't really help clean that up. And so, whether this is going to have any kind of effect long term, we'll have to see in terms of polling as it comes out over the next week or so. But this isn't really the prescription to fixing your trust problems with voters.
And yet, Steve, as we just put up that graphic there that shows the percentage of people who feel that both of these candidates are trustworthy, only 36% do. There's a lot of questions certainly directed at the media, but whether or not there's some sort of a false equivalency that people do here, in the sense that Donald Trump has a lot of things that he's not been transparent about, including his tax returns, including his own health records, which he says he's set to release later this week. Is there a case to be made that both of these candidates, I mean, the numbers already bear it out, but that both of them are not sharing the information with the voters that they should be?
Well, absolutely. But I mean, who's not saying that? Who's not saying that we're not talking about Donald Trump and his tax returns? We've been talking about his tax returns pretty much the entire time he's been in this campaign. We've been talking about medical records for both of them pretty consistently. And so, when one side complains about the other side not getting the same kind of treatment, I just don't see that in this case in terms of the transparency. We've been talking a lot about both of these candidates, again, for the reasons that you mentioned earlier, because of trust issues, because of honesty issues, that there's just hasn't been the kind of transparency on both sides about whatever issue it is, whether it's Hillary Clinton's emails or whether it's Donald Trump's tax returns or other issues.